Ever feel like something in your own home is off? You know, that little detail that changes when you're not looking. For me, it was a chair, an old, beat-up wooden chair that my grandfather left me. It sat in the corner of my bedroom in our old house back in Kentucky. For a week, I'd wake up, and it would be in a slightly different position, just a few inches to the left, or maybe turned a little more towards the window. I told myself I was just tired, misremembering where I'd left it. It's easy to dismiss the little things, right? You tell yourself you're imagining it. You make excuses. But then came the night of November 3rd, 2008. I woke up suddenly, around 1:30 in the morning. That feeling, you know, the one when you feel like you're being watched. I opened my eyes, and my blood ran cold. The chair wasn't in the corner anymore. It was at the foot of my bed, facing me directly. Empty. Just sitting there, staring. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe I moved it and forgot. Maybe one of my family members was playing a prank. But the door was locked from the inside. There was no rational explanation. I couldn't go back to sleep. Not with that thing watching me. I grabbed my old camcorder, the one I used for family holidays, determined to prove I wasn't going crazy. I set the camera up on my nightstand, pointed it right at the chair, and pressed record. The little red light was a small comfort in the dark room. I decided I wouldn't take my eyes off it. I would stare at that chair until the sun came up if I had to. The minutes crawled by. 10 minutes, 20. Nothing happened. The chair remained perfectly still. My eyelids started to feel heavy, like tiny weights were pulling them down. I was so tired, but I forced myself to stay awake. I focused on the intricate carvings on the chair's back, the worn patches on the seat. It was just a piece of wood. It couldn't hurt me. Then I blinked. Just a quick, involuntary blink. But when my eyes opened, it had moved. Not a lot, just an inch or two closer. My breath hitched. Was I seeing things? Was my sleep-deprived mind playing tricks on me? I stared again, my eyes burning. I tried to hold them open, counting the seconds. 1, 2, 3. They started to water. The urge to blink was overwhelming. Finally, I had to. I blinked again, and again. It moved. Another inch. It was toying with me. It knew. It only moved in that split second of darkness when my eyes were closed. This wasn't just a prank. This was something else entirely. Panic began to set in, a cold, creeping dread that started in my stomach and spread through my entire body. I wanted to scream, to run out of the room, but I was frozen. Paralyzed by a fear so absolute it felt physical. I was trapped in this bizarre, silent standoff with a piece of furniture. I kept watching the camera, watching the chair, trying not to blink. But it's impossible. You have to blink, and every single time I did, it slid closer. The faint scraping sound on the wooden floor was almost imperceptible, but I heard it. It was the only sound in the dead quiet of the night, a sound that will be etched into my memory forever. It was a slow, deliberate crawl towards my bed, inch by agonizing inch. The distance was closing. Soon it would be right beside me. What would happen then? The not knowing was the worst part. I don't know how long this went on. It felt like an eternity. The chair was now right next to my bed, so close I could have reached out and touched it. Its dark, wooden frame loomed over me in the shadows. My body was screaming for sleep, but my mind was screaming in terror. I remember thinking, just one more blink. What happens after one more blink? I fought it. I really did. My vision blurred. The room started to swim. My eyes burned with a fiery intensity, but I couldn't fight my own body. My eyelids fluttered, heavy and slow. And then, I blinked. That's the last thing I remember from the camcorder's point of view. The last thing I remember seeing from my bed. The next thing I knew, I was awake, but not in my bed. The morning light was filtering through the blinds, casting long stripes across the room. My neck was stiff, my whole body ached, and I was cold. So incredibly cold. I tried to move, to stretch, but I couldn't. I was completely rigid. I looked down, and my mind simply couldn't process what it was seeing. I was sitting, upright, in the chair. My hands were resting on its wooden arms, my fingers stiff and unmoving. I was the one at the foot of the bed now, facing the empty, rumpled sheets where I had been sleeping. I was frozen. I tried to scream, to move a finger, to do anything, but nothing happened. I was a prisoner in my own body, trapped in this wooden throne. I could see the camcorder on the nightstand, its little red light still blinking. It had recorded everything, but who would ever see it? Who would find me like this? Hours passed. I could hear my family moving around downstairs. The sounds of a normal morning. They had no idea. The real terror sank in when I realized the truth. The chair wasn't just moving, it was waiting. It wasn't about where the chair wanted to be, it was about who it wanted in it. And now, it had me. My name is Alex, and I've been sitting in this chair since November 3rd, 2008. My family thinks I ran away. The police searched, but they never thought to look right here. Sometimes, the furniture chooses who sits, and it never lets them go. Thank you so much for listening to my story tonight. If you've ever experienced something you just can't explain, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this little trip into the shadows, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more tales from the dark. Stay safe out there, and maybe keep an eye on your furniture. You never know what's watching when you blink.